Hey students, my name is Jared Wilson. I'm a teacher at Swallows Charter Academy. I wanted to come and present to you today a presentation on cyberbullying. It's going to go over what cyberbullying is, some of the things that we are seeing as far as trends, targeted populations, and really how we can work together as a team to alleviate some of the issues that we are starting to see arise in our school, our community, and the rest of the United States and other countries. To get started, first thing we need to look at is what is cyberbullying. By definition, cyberbullying is the act of repeated harassment through the use of technology. It closely correlates to traditional bullying. It's the fact that you are continuing an act to harass, to provoke some type of a response from another student or students through the use of technology. When we compare technology or compare cyberbullying to traditional bullying, you see on the cyberbullying side, you have the use of technology, intimidations, threats, insults, rumors, gossip, exclusion, stalking, trolling, frapping, catfishing, and unlimited audience. On the other side, for traditional, it's usually more in person, but it still shares that common theme of intimidation, insults, threats. You have rumors, exclusion, stalking, physical harm. One of the biggest things that we need to look at, kiddos, is that in the traditional side of things, we see is only times that there's interaction between students. So in a classroom per se, it's easy to say these things are happening, how can we separate? Where we have to be careful as we transition to cyberbullying is all of these same things are occurring, but they're able to utilize avenues to bother other students, to provoke other students at home, at school, during sporting events. So it's really just that idea that the avenues in order to hurt another student is much easier to take through the use of cyberbullying. So cyberbullying can take place on many platforms, technologies, media, and social media platforms. There were 2,000 parties that participated in a survey at Florida Atlantic University. One of the biggest breakdowns was what type of social media used, what type of social media did they see the most issues with. Instagram had the highest at 42%, Facebook at 37%, Snapchat at 31%, YouTube at 10%, and Twitter at 9%. So it kind of just breaks down what types of social medias that they're seeing. As you look over here on the right, that breaks down the total number of students that said, hey, so these social medias are the issue. These are the things these are the platforms we see problems with. And then out of that population, their vote for where they see the most use and inappropriate misconduct taking place. Let's take a look at demographics and look at who is at a higher risk. Again, this is all coming from data analysis. This is not saying this is always the case, but it's just data analysis. So data indicates that there are subject groups that are commonly targeted. We see issues with students being targeted for having disabilities. We see students who are targeted due to mental illness. We also see members of the LGBTQ community that are also being targeted at a higher risk. 12% out of the total in the population for the FAU, that's the Florida Atlantic University survey, recognize themselves as being particularly bullied just due to being a part of the member of the LGBTQ community. Facts and supporting data. 53% of adults surveyed had encountered cyberbullying, and 7 in 10 adolescents encountered bullying before the age of 18. During the 2019, the percentage of students that reported being cyberbullied jumped from 32% to 43%, with a spike in females and members of the LGBTQ community. What is also very alarming about this statistic is that from the years 2006 to 2016, there was no jump. It had stayed at that 32%, but with the rise of media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, communications with technology becoming more at ease for students, that number has skyrocketed. Data also indicates that females are more likely to be both victims and perpetrators of cyberbullying. When looking at ages 12 to 17, males have a 6% chance, as females have a 15% chance. 37% of students 12 to 17 experience cyberbullying. 60% of those students witnessed peers being bullied, and then 37% of those students admitted to not stopping or intervening. 64% of students know they're perpetrators from in-person interactions. And that was just kind of going through that same Florida Atlantic breakdown and seeing the different populations. Why? Why are students being targeted? Looking at data again, the first and biggest category is for appearance, and that kind of breaks down to 61% of the total population that reported being bullied had said it was for appearance. 22% said mean or inappropriate comments. 35% said unwanted sharing of materials. So that was options like people screenshotting their statuses or screenshotting pictures they had sent or had posted and then sharing it without their permission to others. And then 20% stated it was over rumors or gossip. And if you look closely, the appearance category is broken down further into 25% was a subcategory for intelligence, 17% was based off of race, 15% was sexual discrimination, 15% was financial, and 11% was a religion. Looking at the evolution, technology is constantly changing and becoming a larger part of our lives. Like technology, the way students are being bullied and targeted is growing substantially, thus resulting in higher numbers of cyberbullying. You can see a quick breakdown here where you have your daily and weekly, and that grew about 4%. Your monthly grew 5%, occasionally grew 9%, and then your never dropped 18%. What's interesting about these is each breakdown. So you see the schools that are saying we daily, weekly have these types of issues with cyberbullying. Monthly, we have these types of bullying. Occasionally, we have these types of bullying. And all of them have grown by pretty marginal percentages. Where we see the biggest change is this 18% where it dropped. And this is going from 37.7% schools saying they never have cyberbullying issues to now 19% of them reporting saying that they are seeing those issues. A significant change in those two percentages. Effects of cyberbullying. We really have to look at the long-term impacts that cyberbullying can have on students. It can lead to depression, school attendance, academic performance, poor health, retaliation, and in some severe cases, suicide. What can students do? So standing up to cyberbullying, here's 10 tips for teens. The biggest one is don't be a bystander. Stand up for cyberbullying when you see it. Take action to stop something that you know is wrong. And here's 10 ways that you can do that. I'm not going to read through each one, but I will state them. And this is a great opportunity if your teacher would like to stop the video that you can talk about each one and elaborate on that. So step 1 is to report to school. Tip 2 is to collect evidence. 3 is to report to site, app, or game. 4 is to talk to a trusted adult. 5 is to demonstrate care. As we continue, 6 is to work together. 7 is to tell them to stop. 8 is to don't encourage it. 9 is to stay safe. And 10 is to not give up. Now that we've seen what cyberbullying is, we've seen the effects of cyberbullying, we need to start looking at how we are being protected from that. As we look at legislature, 49 states have adopted state laws that are directly tied to cyberbullying. Those laws require all schools to provide school policy to address bullying and cyberbullying. And then it addresses off-campus incidences that may be approached by schools if the incident is found to be a distraction of student learning or has created an unsafe learning environment for students. What can students do? What can schools do? Specific definitions of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. They can incorporate graduated consequences and remedial actions, procedures of reporting, procedures of investigating, language specifying off-campus behavior, substantial disruption of learning, or infringement of student rights, and procedures to prevent cyberbullying. These also can all be found in our SCA student handbook. To look at specific cases, I won't go into a ton of detail on these, but you have the Zeno versus Pine Plains School District. A student was awarded $1 million from school district. The courts had ruled that school districts didn't provide adequate support to prevent the child from being bullied. So it's just that idea that schools are going to follow through to help protect all students. Klowoski and Berkeley County Schools in 2011, there was a student who created an online profile page disparaging another student. After receiving suspension, that student had sued this district for infringement of the First Amendment, but courts found the school district in the right to discipline the student for attack on another student. The biggest thing to really focus on here is that these incidences took place outside of school, yet it still is the school's responsibility to intervene and protect students in all parties. Last, I would like to just give a release of the resources I collected to present. This is a great opportunity to stop, speak with students, speak with teachers, and make sure that we're sharing the important information needed that we can help protect all students. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.